Okay. All right. Okay. Good evening, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Once again, I warmly welcome you to the quarterly webinar of the Doing Right Awareness Initiative. The Doing Right Awareness Initiative is a non-governmental organization that is founded on the principles of integrity, justice, and courage. And we believe that we strongly believe that by addressing the moral challenges that face Nigeria, we can build a brighter and more equitable future. Our vision is to reawaken and entrench uprightness in Nigeria, and our mission is to mobilize like-minded Nigerians who sees and who understands the fundamental damage that lawlessness have done to our nation, and we seek to be able to galvanize them in a bid to initiate a national rebirth and new mindset where every Nigerian desires to do the right thing every time and everywhere. Tonight, we will be discussing doing right in the pharmaceutical space, in the pharmaceutical industry, and we have a most profound resource person with us tonight. Someone I believe is one of the treasures that my alma mater has actually given to Nigeria. Um, he's an accomplished pharmacist. He's an independent consultant with comprehensive background in pharmaceutical fields, international marketing, and public-private partnerships. He has over 42 years experience garnered across pharmaceutical industry, oil and gas, engineering and construction, telecoms, and regulatory affairs. He's a two-term commissioner in Kano State. Precisely, he served his state as commissioners as commissioner for the ministries of commerce, industry, cooperative, and tourism, as well as land and physical planning. Um, on the business front, he is the founder and CEO of PharmaPlus Nigeria Limited, Multiplus Resources Limited, Blue Quest Construction and Engineering Limited, A&J Agro Logistics, as well as founder and chairman Safe Medicine Foundation. Malam Ahmed Yakasai, who is our guest tonight, is a board member and trustee of the Society of Family Health, SFH. He's an independent director with NEM Insurance Holdings PLC. He is the chairman board of directors at Evans Baroque. I think that's Evans Nigeria Limited, as well as SFH Access. He also sits as a member of the board of various large corporates such as Clearline HMO, ARFH, Colexia Biosensor of Codex Group, and National Association of Pharmacists and Pharmaceutical Scientists in the Americas. Sorry, Nigerian Association of Pharmacists and Pharmaceutical Scientists in the Americas. Now, on the impact level, our distinguished guest for tonight is the second vice president of the Nigerian Academy of Pharmacy. He's an honorary consul general of Pakistan in Nigeria, and he is a community leader and former chairman of Yakasai Zumuntai Development Association. Like I said, proudly from ABU, he obtained his first degree from the Ahmadu Bello University Zaria, my alma mater, and he obtained other postgraduate qualifications across the world from institutions like the University of Salford in Manchester, United Kingdom, as well as the prestigious National Institute of Policy and Strategic Studies, NIPSS crew. Tonight, particularly, we'll be having him in his capacity as the past president of the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria, and that was between 2015 and 2018. And he will be speaking with us on doing right in the pharmaceutical space in the Nigerian market. We are so privileged to have you with us tonight. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please welcome with me our guest for tonight, Malam Ahmed Yakasai. Good evening, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me to this very credible platform. I heard a lot about this your organization, and it is a privilege and honor for me to be invited. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and thank you for all the work you do for the community and for Nigeria. I mean, when I saw the profile, my first instinct was, how do you manage your time on a daily basis?
You have a lot of additions. It's not me.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
so let's dive straight into it. So, I mean, I was reading from, I think, the National Library of Medicine in the United States. Says an article from there, I mean, talking about falsified and substandard medicine, especially a wake up call for Africa, says, and I quote, falsified and substandard medicines exist in every region of the world. However, Africa bears a significant burden of this problem worldwide. The African region also has the highest prevalence of poor quality medicines, with an 18.7% prevalence of falsified and substandard medicines among low and middle income countries worldwide. The market for falsified and substandard medicines has been estimated to be worth between 65 to 200 billion dollars every each year globally. And I think this was the source for this is actually from the World Customs Organization. But taking it back, just last week, precisely July 10th, we woke up to the news that a special private task force has confiscated unwholesome pharmaceutical products worth about 1.3 billion naira at Kano Pharmaceutical Coordinated Wholesale Centers. That's KPPCWC. I think that is located in Dongoro village in Kano, thankfully from your state. Now, according to the report, the success of this is largely
Hello.
attributed. Can you hear me, sir?
Hello. Yes. Go ahead.
All right. According to the source, the success of this raid is largely attributed to the closure of the Sabongari open drug market just less than 1 year ago. Now, this is Kano alone. So my question to you, sir, my first question to you, I think we want to start from there. How bad is this situation with counterfeit drugs across the country? Do you think we need to declare a state of emergency? I think we should start from there.
Oh, thank you very much. And honestly, it is because of the prevalence of fake drugs in Nigeria. We call it now falsified and substandard products, pharmaceutical products. And we realize, from the early stage, I realized the menace of this situation. And that is why, as the president and my predecessors championed the dismantling of the sources. You know, you have to go to the main source, the root cause, where you are getting. If you cut the supply, definitely is one of the ways out before you use technology, before you use other things to control it. Yes, in Nigeria, we realize poor markets, Idumota, Sabongari in Kano, Ariaria Market in Aba, Abia State, and indeed on a overhead bridge. They are mainly the sources. But of recent, we have some new markets coming up. So we decided that there is need to control how they receive these drugs into that kind of environment. So that is why from the national drug policy, it came up with the idea of national drug distribution guidelines. How do we control it? It is by establishing coordinated wholesale centers where NAFDAC, Pharmacy Council of Nigeria, and all the regulators, police, civil defense, for security reasons, they will be there. There will be a mini lab. Any drug coming into that center must be randomly sample tested to make sure that, yes, we have the control of what is coming in. And luckily enough, in coordinators, as you mentioned, 1.3 million. It is not one off. It's not one off campaign. It is not one situation. So they keep on getting. They have a kind of local task force which we arrange, we organize, and then not only substandard, even the expired ones, they have to collect, keep in the warehouse of NAFDAC. If you go to the office, you see the kind of raiding they do and the products they get is alarming. But we thank God, relocated to Kangoro reduced it drastically because when it was in Savangari, the havoc is in billions, not to
Wow.
just 3 billion. So we were able to arrest, and I can tell you, it's so terrible, so pathetic. You see a product with zero active ingredient. Of recent, there was a case even in Lagos. The guy cloned a product, put zero active ingredient from one of the Asian countries. He brought them here with made in Nigeria products. And you can imagine if you have hypertension or cancer or diabetes and you're not taking anything, you're just taking starch or chalk or nothing inside, you know the consequences. Of recent, just 4 days ago, I lost a nephew who definitely, from hypertension, he had an arteries rupture, and before you know, he died. All this is consequences to the problem of substandard falsified. So it is going to be continuous. It's not one-off campaign. And honestly, we are lucky to have the Kano Coordinator Wholesale Center. Again, Idumota, they have started building. The Lagos angle, they have started building. I understand Abia, they are on the planning stage. Anambra also, I must give kudos to the governor, Soludo. He has taken it up and they have started constructing the center. So it is great. It's a serious problem. It's a serious menace. But I can tell you with what NAFDAC is doing, uh, the studies shows that especially they are picking the most used medicines, anti-malarial, antibiotics, and so on. So, but when they bring in technology, NAFDAC brought in about what you use as scratch and send the code to a number. You confirm if you know or not. And then they have what we call mini lab through scan, handheld. And there are so many tools that handheld that you can use to check if the product is substandard or not. So this reduce the problem of the unpicking of the antimalarials. From the study, they showed that from 19.6%, it reduced about 3.5%. So the issue of using the mobile authentication services is somehow, as far as our pharmacy retail outlets are concerned, only 53% are covered. So we are still trying to sensitize more pharmacy, even the government hospital, even the private hospital. But unfortunately, we have problem even in the hospitals. They have pharmacy outlet, but they don't have pharmacists, especially the private hospital. So anything can enter there without control. We have so many lapses there that it needs serious, consistent inspection to make sure that you go round whole hog. It's not only the border. Yes, so many substandard falsified products are coming through the border because they know, even though even at the port, uh, you are allowed only to bring drugs through Apapa, but sometimes they bring them as building materials. They bring even all kind of tramadol and so on as building materials, or all kind of concealment and so on. So it is a cartel. It's a, mafia group, but honestly, it has reduced drastically as far as Kano is concerned. And we are not going to sleep. We are watching and we will continue to be vigilant. And more so, we're encouraging pharmacovigilance activities. You know, it is very important to have post-marketing surveillance. It's one thing to register a product and put it in the market, and it's another thing to just leave it like that. So we need to continually have surveillance, market surveillance, to know, even if it's randomly. So people are getting aware now, they need to do that. More so, there is periodic safety reports required by NAFDAC now. If you want to renew, you have to submit what we call PSUR, updated report of all the safety of your product. So that one will help to really, but NAFDAC is doing well for what we call track and trace also. They are using barcoding to make sure what you have, it is what it is. But as human beings, corruption and so on, some get away with it, but definitely there is a way out.
Thank you so much. This is quite a lot to take in at the same time, But two things I'm going to just ask from what you just said. You talked about pharmacovigilance activities, right? So sorry. Before then, you talked about reduction from a percentage to from 19 to 3%. I didn't get that data very well. I don't know whether you can repeat that.
3.6 to 3.5%
Or 3 point
anti-malarials.
anti-malaria from 3.6
to
from 9.
3.5%.
Okay,
19.6%
okay,
to
3 point
3.5%.
in
The
anti-malaria phase.
anti-malarials only.
Thank you so much. Thank you. That's now. So you talked about continuous surveillance, for pharmacovigilance activities, right? Now the question is, who is responsible for this? What body is responsible for this? How how is this carried out? Is there a way that other stakeholders outside of the pharmaceutical ecosystem can also join? People like us in a Doing Right initiative. Is there a room for advocacy or for volunteering with the body that is responsible for actually for actually carrying this out? That's number one. Number two is that in your own tenure, as the president of Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria, what are the efforts that you actually launched and what were the results like? So let me come again. The question is, number one, in terms of pharmacovigilance activities and continual surveillance, which body is responsible for this? How can we know what they are doing, and how can we know how to partner with them if there is any opportunity for that? Then, secondly, in your role as the president of PSN, um, what were the things that you did to combat this menace, and what was the result like? Before you do that, once again, I want to welcome you if you're joining us for the first time. This is the quarterly webinar of the Doing Right Awareness Initiative. The Doing Right Awareness Initiative is actually a non-governmental organization that is founded on the principles of integrity, courage, and justice. And we believe that by confronting the moral challenges that face us as a nation, we can build a brighter and more equitable future for Nigeria. You can please follow us on our website at doright.ng and on all our other social media platforms. Thank you very much. Today we are talking about doing right in pharmaceutical space, and we have with us distinguished Malam Ahmed Yakasai, who has given us a very insightful picture into the menace that we are talking about. So, sir, back to you.
Thank you very much. Yes, pharmacovigilance, what it means is like monitoring and detection of adverse drug reactions. It's more scientific. And NAFDAC is the one in charge of getting a report, analyze, use it, sometimes to send alerts about the product.
Okay.
But if you are talking of creating awareness about falsified as substandard drugs, yes, it's the role of everybody, not only professionals, not pharmacists, doctors only, even the consumers, the patients, they have a, especially when they know the sources of where to get genuine products. You cannot imagine somebody going to the market to buy a drug. He's going in for trouble, but you have to go to a registered premises where you have a pharmacist. You need to ask. You need to see the license of the pharmacist there. So pharmacovigilance is one area that, yes, the private sector can join hands, establish a company, process, and assist NAFDAC in sending reports. Like there is a company, IntraHub, is even building an app, which already has an app, which will give all the professional healthcare professionals and even the consumers. They can use an app to send information. So again, there is no harm for you to establish a comprehensive pharmacovigilance system if you be getting report, if you have call center, if you have medicine information services, you can do that. Your organization can do that, and then you can be sending report because even World Health Organization do send information to us, do send alerts to us, and it's very important we get suspicious anything that you are suspicious, you send a report. So, but for who is responsible? Which organization is responsible? NAFDAC is responsible for pharmacovigilance. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So the next question is, in your own role as president, in your own engagement with the industry, can you tell us the things that you have done in doing right, in doing the right things, and what are the results in combating, in fighting the cartel and all that stuff? I think we'll go on a very short break. I don't know if the video is ready. When we come back, we'll come back to that question. So please, can we have the video for do right? Thank you very much. Okay, if the video is not ready, please can you proceed by answering the questions, please? Thank you very much, sir.
As I told you, pharmacy is a global profession. It's not local. It's not Nigerian profession. The standard is global, and you have to really see the ethics. You have to see the regulatory areas. You have to see the scientific angle. You have to see the professionalism in it. And all we are talking about is about safety, the trust for even the patient to accept what we formulate. So this is one area that we felt so bad. We tried to see that we have good manufacturing practice, good distribution practice, good pharmacy practice, using all the legal instruments to make sure, because we have them, we have the acts all over. You have to go deep into manufacturing, distribution, regulatory, how the administration of the medicine itself, so that at the end of the day, to protect human lives and earn public trust. So advocacy, my own, I believe there is a power in advocacy. We try to show, even though the national drug policy explained everything, uh, but unfortunately the implementation is the problem. It has just been recently reviewed, but still we are following up to see the full implementation of the national drug policy. So number one, strengthening of regulatory agencies and the collaboration. I champion relationship, synergy between CPC and Pharmacy Council of Nigeria and NAFDAC. And I thank God it is working. They work collaboratively in Kano for the relocation after so many litigations and so on. But at the end of the day, we are able to make it. And we keep on talking, asking for more inspectors, for consistent inspection. It is very important. Then the digital. Some of them call me digital president because anytime I go, I talk about technology, even at the international space. It is so important, and we are so happy. NAFDAC embrace it. They came up with so many tools that will fight all these menace and so on. So again, the erring practitioners, whoever he is, at my time, don't joke with that. You have to face investigation panel, disciplinary committee, and so on. But the very interesting one is the public-private partnership. And then even with the government, I reach out to the National Assembly to see how we can work together. I reach out to many donors. How can they support to strengthen the system. And indeed, I personally, I set up Self-Medicine Foundation because it is so important to have whistle blowing system. In China, they even have money. If you report, nobody will mention your name. There's money attached to it. You will be paid. And it worked. So even here, I keep on encouraging that kind of arrangement to make sure we have whistleblowing system where you can report and get benefit out of it. Then campaigns, every day we are on it. Public awareness campaign, because it is very important. It is very important for the public to be aware. Even if you have the tools, they don't know how to use it, it's a problem. Keep on championing for really funding. There's no point you have the system, you would not fund it. They are understaffed. The logistics are not here. Vehicles, enforcement, you cannot do enforcement without money. You cannot, because it takes long time, patiently, and you need vehicles to move around to all. You can imagine 774 local governments. And then even Lagos, concentrated Lagos, you have to be on it every day. You need vehicles, you need logistics. Suppose you can imagine the budget they spent for just the closure of Savangari market. You can imagine the budget they spent, the money they spent in Onisha when they closed the market for a brief time. So if there is no funding, definitely those who are making all kind of nonsense, they will make it. Then we keep on talking of border surveillance to control not only smuggling of genuine products, but to stop the unregistered and the substandard products coming in. So we encourage a lot of things. We work together with our regulators, Pharmaceutical Council of Nigeria and NAFDA, to make sure we have a system that is transparent, well structured, and again, we champion the local manufacturing. Yes, if you are importing 70% of your products, there's no way you will control certain things. But we thank God with what we have now, I understand it has been reduced to 60%. But still, it's security risk. 60% from outside, we are not happy. Many countries, even take, for example, Pakistan, they are almost 90% self-reliant. Egypt is almost 100%. Only the ingredients, APIs, and the excipient, and so on, which even American import APIs and excipients. So all these things and the incentives, I champion, for example, now, India and Pakistan, they are deliberately promoting export drive. So if they invite buyers to Africa, they pay for their air ticket, they pay for their hotel, just for you to go and see and try to negotiate. And before you know, the orders Africans give to Pakistan and India, so huge that the ticket and the accommodation they gave were nothing. And then the manufacturers coming to, for example, like I organize Pharma West Africa exhibition and conference. When they are coming to Landmark, they either give them 50% of the exhibition pavilion, or they pay everything for them, promoting export. But definitely, and then again, the patronage. When the government buys from Nigerian manufacturers, they don't pay them. It takes long time during my time to reach out to the late president, Muhammadu Buhari, to appeal to him to pay. At that time, it was just about 10 billion naira. Thank God he approved. Almost 60 billion was paid. But how can you produce? The government will buy, they will not pay. There is what we call drug revolving fund. Bastardize. Bastardize. If we go with drug revolving fund, honestly, even the NHIS will be a child play. But what is happening? And of course, we don't have price control. We don't have anything. The patients suffer at the end of the day. But thank God they said there is what we call presidential initiative on unlocking healthcare value chain. They are coming with so many ideas to position that we hope to alleviate the problem. But we have done a lot as far as advocacy is concerned, reaching out to policymakers, reaching out to all the stakeholders to make sure that we work together for the benefit of our patients. At the end of the day, it's for the good of the public health.
Thank you very much. I mean, this has been very, very, very. So, I mean, some of the takeouts so far is from the work that you have done and what you recommend is public-private partnerships. You, for example, have the Safe Medicine Foundation, which is very good. We have the whistleblowing. Then you have encouraged us to explore the route of advocacy for campaigns, public awareness, support with enforcement, border surveillance, and championing local manufacturing. And of course, before now, you are giving us some insight into how bad the market is, or not how bad, or how terrible the situation is. And we will go on a very short break. But before then, when we come back, I would like for you to tell us. I mean, just thinking about it, do you think that the level of poverty in the country is also contributing to the demand side of things in terms of low quality drugs, you know? And if that is the case, what what can be done from the PSN angle, right? That's number one. Then we have other questions. So please let me
They are
just say this. If you are
tracking.
doing, please,
They are
sorry, can you?
tracking. Line is cracking. Can you repeat the question? The line is cracking.
Okay, so the question is, do you think that poverty is also contributing to the demand for low quality drugs? And as PSN, what can be done to ease the situation? That's number one. Then we have another question from the audience that says that this is from Jerry Sonboy that says, what responsibilities do pharmaceutical companies have during global health crisis like pandemics? I'll read that again. Jerry Sonboy says, what responsibilities do pharmaceutical companies have during global health crisis like pandemics? Then my question is that, do you think that poverty is contributing to the demand for low quality drugs, and what can PSN do, to ease the situation? We will go on a very short break for 20 seconds, and when we come back, we'll continue the conversation with our resource person for this evening, Malam Ahmed Yakasai. Please, can we have the conversation? Can we have the commercials? Thank you. Do you have the videos ready? Okay. If we do not, once again, if you are joining us for the very first time, I warmly welcome you to this quarterly webinar. This is the quarterly webinar organized by the Gene Right Awareness Initiative. The Gene Right Awareness Initiative is a non-governmental organization that is founded on the principles of integrity, justice, and courage. And we believe that by confronting the moral challenges that confront us as a nation, we can build a brighter and more equitable Nigeria. Our vision is to reawaken and entrench uprightness in Nigeria, and we do that by galvanizing a base of like-minded individuals who understand the level of damage that lawlessness and moral decadence have done to our nation, and see the need for us to initiate a movement that will result in a national rebirth, a new mindset where every Nigerian seeks to do the right thing first time, every time, and everywhere. Tonight we are joined by Malam Yakasai, by Malam Ahmed Yakasai, who is discussing with us doing right in the pharmaceutical, Nigerian pharmaceutical space. And it has been a very interesting conversation. Just learning how the cartel were rooted in Idumota, Sabongeri, Araria, and one other market. The level of work that has been done with the introduction of technology, and most profoundly for me tonight is the reduction of fake anti-malaria drug from 19.6% to about 3.5%, I think, which I think is a commendable effort. So, sir, back to the question, sir. Thank you very much.
Yes, you know, I know. Nigerian poverty is there, moving on the street naked. And it's not only that the affordability, accessibility is a problem, but some, they even go to Babalao. They go to Habal because they cannot afford. And it's out of pocket. Even the extended family that some fall on to get Soko, they are still, the extended family also, they're being extended to the limit. And unfortunately, National Health Insurance Authority, as expected to cover widely, is still struggling. But I know of recent, they said they shortlisted some pharmaceutical companies that will give them the barest minimum price that they can buy their own product, thinking that probably it will be affordable. And I know Prudential Initiative on unlocking healthcare value chain also, they are coming up with a system like PTF. They will do bulk purchase so that they will now subsidize whatever and make it low. But definitely, if there is no incentives for manufacturers, if there is no preferential treatment for forex, if you cannot plan, there is a problem. So the issue is when there is scarcity, when there is a gap, the monsters go outside and produce nothing and bring back. Even if you have your product, and unfortunately you couldn't import because of forex and what have you, before you know, you will see your own product in Nigeria. If somebody will go and manufacture a product manufactured in Nigeria from outside and still with the address manufactured in Nigeria, you can imagine that's what we call cloning. So, and they will come and sell it at the ridiculous price. Price, if you are, I don't think cheap cheap product is better for anything. So if you subject the product to analysis, you find out that you are buying nothing. So definitely, it's pushing people to all kind of problems. Some they go to prayer house, some they just leave it to God with wishful thinking that you come and go. And so many people die because of accessibility to medicine if they cannot afford, especially the cancer, all these terminal illnesses where you cannot afford to pay is a problem. So poverty is a real issue as far as public health is concerned. It's a threat. It's a problem, and there is poverty. Yes.
All right. Okay. Thank you, sir. So back to the questions. It's back to the question from Jerry Someboy. He says, what
Yes,
responsibility
it's
farmers?
a, it's a lesson. It's a lesson learned uh, for during the COVID-19. We were exposed, especially to as far as medicine security is concerned. But that really shows us the way to really challenge ourselves. Like NAFDAC come up with 5+5. That means if you register for 5 years, you renew for 5 years, you will not be allowed to register again. And I did a study when I was in Kuru. We worked together with for a data with PMG man to come on with ceiling list of the product that we can push ourselves to do it here because we have the capacity, we can do it. So
Okay.
again, we encourage so many companies to start producing what people think is not possible, like Codex. They have started glucometer production in Lagos, and of recent we have all kind of rapid tests for malaria, for HIV, and so many other problems. So with this, I don't think we will go back to sleep. Like
All right.
NSIA also is trying to come up with a manufacturing plant to produce excipients, at least if it is even starch pharmaceutical grade. You can imagine we don't produce pharmaceutical grade of starch in Nigeria, as huge as Nigeria is. Then I'm happy EMSO also is coming up with APIs, active pharmaceutical ingredients of anti-malarials, about 4 products. And there is a consortium now trying to produce other active pharmaceutical ingredients. And I know there is a talk between so many stakeholders and Aliko Dangote Group to make sure we have the angle of petrochemical industry, because there is no point we send our crude oil outside. Other countries that don't have crude oil, they process and send very expensive active pharmaceutical ingredients to us. It doesn't make sense. So we have been appealing to Aliko to start this angle. Then definitely, if we have our active pharmaceutical ingredients processed from the raw materials, Nigeria will be a great giant. And all this fear of pandemic, we can raise our heads and say yes. You can imagine how India dealt with America as far as chloroquine tablet is concerned. They were doing a lot of shakara for chloroquine tablets for nothing. So it's a call for action, and it's a global problem that yes, Nigeria must work towards self-reliance as far as
Okay.
production
Thank
is
you.
concerned.
Thank you very much. So it is suffice to say that self-reliance in manufacturing is one of the biggest gaps that we have in combating
Yes,
this menace. Okay,
yes.
beautiful. So we have quite a lot of questions coming from the audience. I don't know how many we can take, but we'll try to take as many as we can.
You're
But
welcome.
as very quickly as possible, I'll take two now. Then I'll take two. I'll take. I think I'll take the two in like about 35 minutes. That'll be very good. From Tosin Akinwale, he says, "How is the organization leveraging?" Sorry, before Tosin, there is. I think it's closely related to Tosin's question. Is closely related to Moyo Sore. So Tosin says, "How is the organization leveraging AI or emerging technology to do right in drug discovery or diagnostics? How is the organization leveraging AI or emerging technology to do right in drug discovery and diagnosis?" And I think Moyo had also asked earlier on that what role do you see technology playing, in pharmacy practice in the future? So I think those two questions are very related. It's about the role of technology in combating this menace, and secondly, so that's one on technology and the role it's going to play. But the second question is from Pastor Wali Ade Farasin. He says, "What are you doing about pharmacies that sell prescription drugs over the counter without prescriptions? What are you doing about pharmacies that sell prescription drugs over the counter without prescriptions?" That is from Pastor Wali Ade Farasin.
Let me start from that one.
Okay, sir.
When I was the president, I tried to admonish all the healthcare professionals, to every profession, to stay on its own lane. Doctors to prescribe, pharmacists to dispense. We don't know how true they were prescribing. Doctors, there is a law backing it, so it's not our problem. But unfortunately, some group, especially the medical doctors, vehemently they are against prescription policy, because some of them felt they cannot survive. They are, especially the private sector, they cannot survive. Their private hospital cannot survive without selling commodities. So I can tell you, if doctors will accept to prescribe only, pharmacists will accept to dispense. But mark you, there are certain drugs that they are allowed to be sold without prescription, even abroad. So even the patent medicine stores, they are allowed to sell OTC without prescription, but they must sell in their own facts. They are not supposed to bring them out. They are not supposed to sell antibiotic or anti-cancer products and so on. So we all know. But I'm happy this minister is really sensitizing all the healthcare professionals to see wisdom in accepting the prescription policy, so that we'll be civilized. Like even Niger, they have their own lanes. Doctors prescribe, pharmacies, because we have a lot. It's not only dispensing. We check a lot. Medication errors, contraindications, indication, pharmacodynamics, pharmacokinetics, so many things we advise the doctors. But if they don't want, it's a it's a problem to protect the public health. Uh, then the other issue, the AI he's talking about, is it about fighting, or technology is talking about, is it fighting the menace of substandard drugs, or he's talking of local manufacturer? If it
So
is,
I think we can discuss both, but our conversation tonight is on combating these menace. So I think if it's zeroing on that, but you can
you
touch on
didn't
both.
tell me
But we
only
don't
about
have enough time now.
substandard
We don't have
drugs.
enough time.
I didn't know. Is it only about substandard? It's okay. It's okay. We can spend hours on fake drugs, honestly.
Okay,
So
so you can
I have
just
mentioned,
summarize and help us speak
yes,
us
I have
about it.
mentioned so many technologies used by NAFDAC. And then we have a great guy in America, Alonge. He has a handheld device that can detect uh, fake drugs on site. We have, I mentioned TrustCan. We have all the mobile authentication. We have so many apps that can give you results instantly to know if this product is fake or not. But uh, the AI for drug production, I can proudly tell you, a Nigerian pharmacist, even though so many Japa, unfortunately, the brain drain, and they are doing well. Our Nigerian guy from the greatest university in sub-Saharan Africa, Ahmed University Zaria, is a graduate of that great university. You are from there, I
I'm
believe
from
so.
there. I'm from there.
No, I can
Yes.
see it from your face. Any ABU guy. So the guy started the nanotechnology in Canada, and he produced so many products. His company is quoted in New York Exchange. So we are not doing badly. But back home here, yes, even there, genomics, precision medicine, now they can even put something in your stomach to know the absorption rate and how the drug is working, pharmacodynamic, pharmacokinetic absorption, and so on. So, but for improving the processes, yes, so the system, so many companies are using AI, uh, especially the supply chain angle, especially the pharmacovigilance angle. And then the machines now they are getting their compliance, because there's no point to have a machine that will give you 100 tablets maybe per hour when you have another one that can give you 1 million tablets. So more so, we are all trying to go through pre-qualified processes of World Health Organization, FDA, because we really want to catch up. We really want to have the global standards. Yes, I know we have GMP, but there is CGMP, the current GMP, that is talking about the latest development in pharmaceutical sector. Current a real good manufacturing practice is okay, but if we go to current good manufacturing practice, it's addition, but that doesn't mean there is difference in quality. At the end of the day, they are all working towards quality. But AI, yes, There's no way we cannot run away from artificial intelligence. And Nigeria, they are really grabbing it. We are really ahead of so many countries in Africa.
So just to interrupt you, so on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you think we're doing in terms of technology adoption for manufacturing, as you said?
I cannot answer you that one because I don't have the data, but I know even myself, I'm using AI in pharmacovigilance and it is
Okay,
working. It's
okay,
wonderful. Yes.
beautiful. Okay, beautiful. Thank you so much. It's been an
Thank
insightful conversation so far. So we'll take. So I think our video is ready now, and then when we come back, we'll ask our last question, and then we'll try to round up for the. It's a lot of. It's a lot to. I know it's a lot.
Last
All right, thank you very much for that video. Once again, if you are joining us for the first time, I warmly welcome you to this quarterly webinar organized by the Do Right Awareness Initiative, a non-governmental organization that is founded on the principle of integrity, justice, and courage. Thank you very much, Blaze. This is very insightful. I know this is very insightful. And please do very well to follow us on our website, doright.ng, and all our social media platforms. I think we're on there right now. There's a motor short meetup where, okay, so we don't have time now. We have just 4 minutes. So I'm going to take the last question from the audience. I'm going to ask the last question on behalf of Do Right. So the question from Momoto Shote Meetup says, what policies or partnerships are needed to drive innovation and encourage local production of drugs in Nigeria? What I think you have touched on that a little bit. You can just give us like a summary of some of the things you've said.
Yes,
And
yes. You see, the university,
yes, sir.
the industry,
Yes, sir.
and the government,
Okay,
they
sir.
have to come together.
Together.
I really promoted that kind of partnership between the Federal Ministry of Health and the Mayor and Baker to start production of vaccines. I promoted NIFRID, National Institute for Pharmaceutical Research and Development, and PISTON to start products. And then already I know NEMET and NIFRID, they are working. So now there is Natural Institute for Medicinal, where Dr. Emeje is the DG. He has so many products that is ready to show the industry to grab and start, even if it is nutraceuticals. And then I promoted the National Association of Industrial Pharmacists to come up with formulation, improve from formulation, to work with the center so that we can commercialize. I attended a course in entrepreneurship. I know how it works between the industry and
And
the universities. Yes, there is no point to keep all kind of research work on the shelves, gathering dust and so on. So we have to really work together and see. But the
activate.
issue is finance. The issue is financing. How do they commercialize it? How do they upscale it? How do they go into really research and development for real reformulation, improvement of formulation, and so on? So the government has to come in. The government has to bring about incentives. The government has to really work together deliberately to promote, because there is money in it. If you see what India is making out of this because of government intervention, it's enough to do a lot of things. The GDP is giving a lot for them. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So the last question I'm going to ask you, right? I've asked I asked somewhat in and between the conversations, and um, is to say, you see, we are Do Right Initiative. We are very committed to playing our own little part in the birth of a new Nigeria, right? So, in your view, right, what practical ways do you think we can help, or what can we do to galvanize our base to join forces with the appropriate stakeholders in combating this menace of counterfeit drugs in practical ways?
Yes,
I
there
think
are
you mentioned
so many.
advocacy before, but you can just give us three practical ways, and then we are done because we have to get out of here in the next 2-3 minutes.
It's okay. Yes, you have to reach out to NAFDAC
Okay.
for the products. You have to reach out to PCN for the premises. And then, of course, like I know there is an organization called MyShamet, which I chair. They provided, or they are providing a tool where if you come to any pharmacy, they are going around now supplying the equipment. If you come to any pharmacy, you must to test, especially the anti-malarial, and they have to test you. Do you really have malaria? You cannot just walk in and say, I have malaria, give me medicine. Most of the people, they don't have malaria. They have fever or they have infection. They tell you malaria and you give them and it cause problems, especially coartem with so many side effects and so on. So um, collaboration between the government, especially NAFDAC, they have a lot. If you can give them vehicles to go, it will be a good one. But on a lighter note, honestly, for your own is public campaigns,
Public campaigns. Okay.
creating awareness,
Okay.
television, radio, roadshow, and uh, sponsoring one kind of grants to university to really work on how to bring about improvement about this problem. It will go a long way. Yes.
Thank you so very, very much. We are the right initiative. We like to keep the time because we like to do it. But it's been a very insightful conversation. Once again, I want to commiserate with you on the passing of your relative as a result of terrible of these menace. We commiserate with you and condone
Thank
with your family. It's been and thank you so much for showing up despite you being a victim of what we are discussing. Thank you so much. You have learned quite a lot. To summarize, it's a lot to summarize, but I think you have some of the things you have mentioned to us today for those that join ladies because you have talked to us about the fact that the work that you have done or the work that has been done from NAVDAC and PSN is to cut the sources of these menace, which literally before now was resident in Idumota, Sabongeri, Araria, forgotten the fourth market. I mean, and
Onitsha,
some and
Onitsha head
Onitsha.
bridge.
Yes, yes.
Mm.
And you have also established a National Drug Distribution Center, which I think is good. There's been some level of technological introduction that has helped to combat some of these issues, even though we still have problems like lack of pharmacists in our primary healthcare centers. But of course, you have also emphasized the issue of pharmacovigilance activities. You have spoken about public-private partnerships, campaign public awareness, enforcement, border surveillance, champion local manufacturing. You have spoken to us about advocacy and helping to drive synergy between NAFDAC and other stakeholders. And of course, I think one of the most important things that you touched on tonight is actually the need for the collaboration between the academia and industry to be able to produce drugs that can stop the adverse effect of importing the wrong kind of drugs. Yes, and basically, I think something else that I touched on was that whole need for the dichotomy between the roles of doctors and pharmacists in primary healthcare centers. I mean, it's been quite an insightful session, and we are very, very grateful. On behalf of the initiative, I want to say thank you so much for joining us, and for all of us that have joined us for tonight. Thank you so much for being a part of this webinar. We'll see you next time. But until next time, my name is
Private hospitals, primary healthcare, private hospitals.
Okay, private hospitals. Okay, thank you.
That's why the problem. Yes. Thank you very much.
All right. So, on behalf of the Awareness Initiative, I want to say thank you so much. I want to say a new Nigeria is possible and a new Nigeria will happen. Thank you, everyone, and have a very good evening.
Very
Thank you.
possible. Thank you.